make a career out of something that for me, I love helping people. I really do. I've really gotten to really love my career, but I didn't always love every job I was in. I mean, it was fucking hard.
Right.
It was a grind.
Oh, same here.
And that doesn't mean, but to do, and what I would say to someone is, what I would say to, Spotify, Dear Media, and all these places where this is what, if I'm able to produce this type of content in, a couple hour hangout on a Sunday as a mom with a full-time job and 5 autoimmune diseases and like the list goes on.
And active in her community.
And active in my community. If I can produce this content with that, imagine what content I would produce if this is my full-time job. And that's what
I say that every day because it actually is exciting. And like you're saying, you recruiting, obviously same thing. Like, it's interesting. I'm in tech now. I never in a million years.
Right, me too.
Just like I said at the beginning of this episode, I went to school. I thought I was going to be the next Katie Couric.
Right.
And then I was like, I don't, once I started working in a newsroom, I saw what the news is now. I was like, maybe not the
exactly. And just
me.
because, and that's what I found out too.
Or
just because, and
me.
I tried to go the advertising route out of school, right? I tried to go and I was like, I actually fucking hate this. Like, I actually hate this. I don't want to work for an advertising agency. Like, I looked into that and I was like, this sucks. And so I did. It was an immediate pivot. It was an immediate pivot out of college to end up going into something I had never heard of recruiting.
I mean, I did the same. One, I was like applying everywhere.
But just because it's a pivot is my point. And it's something that you weren't expecting. And maybe it's something that you don't even know if you like.
I made multiple
doesn't
pivots.
mean that it's doesn't mean that it doesn't add value, and it can't be a part of your story and your journey in a valuable way.
And that was something that I think, again, I got.
So it's funny. I have to say quick, it ties it back to where we started this conversation where it doesn't, sometimes you do just have to jump in. It doesn't have to be perfect.
You just
sometimes it's just both feet jump in, whether it's when you're 20 or 60.
When you say yes to opportunities.
Yes.
Yes. I have a quote that I literally, and people will be like, nerd alert, but seriously, especially like Morgan and I have talked about with work, different times, different career shifts. Like, I need physical reminders. And so I have a Post-it on my wall that's like a half sheet Post-it that says, times of uncertainty create windows of opportunity, because it was a reminder. It's a constant reminder to me of also for me to say yes in moments when I've asked for certain things, which meaning like take this responsibility. It's like more of a career where I'm like, I don't know if I'm good enough for that, or to challenge it.
Imposter syndrome bullshit.
Yeah, but I've literally, my whole career has been times of uncertainty. I graduated in a recession. I couldn't get a job. I then get a job. Thank God that the universe decided to find Morgan in recruiting, because she helped me get my first job, which then in turn made me have, or allowed me to have this career in tech. And literally.
We don't have to count now, but
first three. First four.
Because one was through referral.
Yeah.
One was directly me, and one was a referral.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My network.
Two were through your I actually got placements. The first two.
Uh-huh.
The third was through a direct referral.
Uh-huh.
The fourth was then
another direct referral. Yeah.
And then
the
next one was a direct referral, but that not with you, but that was but again, that was network.
But
and then this was actually the only job I have not gotten off my network,
which is crazy.
Which
every job my first job was the only job that I never got from my network.
That's so funny.
First job.
Like that ours is completely opposite.
Because I'm a recruiter.
Because I had sisters.
I'm a recruiter. This is my life. But I literally, but
Morgan's helped so many of our friends. Like literally, I don't think you've ever said no to anyone. I'll be like, oh, so-and-so's friend and my colleague that needs help getting a job. You literally help everyone.
Yeah,
I've sent you so many resumes.
I can't say no. Because it's such an important, like, accepting a job, getting a job, it's your money. It's the most important. It's your money, and it's the most amount of time that you're going to spend on anything in your life, right? Yeah. So it's so important. And I I don't take it lightly. I've seen the depths of a recession. I've seen people go through awful, horrific things, and I've seen God, and that's like thinking of voting for. It really, for me, is not about Republican, Democrat. It's just like Donald Trump versus any human.
Oh, I know, same.
But I think I'm saying that because I think about the times when things were really bad and the reasons why they were bad. These big banks that then, crashed our economy. And then as a recruiter, there were consulting firms that were aligned to then continue to audit the banks. We knew the banks fucked up, but then to keep them like straight, they needed to continue to be audited, and they were supposed to follow like all these specific rules. There were just so many things that I saw, because of my role in DC in all of these different times,
right,
seeing the back end effects. The back end effects, my point is that still to this day, we still have to be fearful of some of these big, because they're not fully regulated. And that's why the people, and I'm saying that because
if
Kamala
Roe
wants it,
versus
Trump,
Wade
it does
can
not.
be overturned.
Right.
Anything can fucking get rolled back and overturned.
But my point though, my point isn't that. My point is when it's whose hands are who has their pocket in or their hand in those pockets, whatever, yada yada. We'll probably end up cutting this, Brad, but
I can, I'll say too much. But interestingly, I had a pivot to just off of that. I was going to completely pivot
to hard pivot. We need it.
No, we talk about with work, right? Work was, and clearly we're passionate about. I mean, it's our careers. Majority of our day we're working, right? But it was so interesting working and living in DC together, obviously as sisters. And then, like we said, we had these, we had our friends from work. So we had these larger network of friends, and we would, why those friendships and how they could overlap was happy hour.
Yeah.
We would all end up being at these overlapping happy hours, whether they were company sponsored, and we stumble in, and I feel so bad for like Gen Z now. And because even though you can work, a lot of companies or maybe people would be strategically, I probably would be picking a company that allowed me at least to be hybrid. I wouldn't want to be remote.
That had an
20.
office. Yeah.
It was literally my social life.
It was our entire social life.
If I didn't have my sisters in DC, like work, I wouldn't have had any friends.
Yeah, it was only
none
work.
of my friends from home. Warren lived there at that point.
And it wasn't
nobody else did.
And to anyone it wasn't
college,
just that, because everyone that's ever worked in an office or worked in a work environment, you understand this. And I'm saying that for those people that, have only ever had like a remote job. But it's because you spend so much time with those people. It's not like, oh, you're such a weirdo, you're obsessed with work, you want to hang out with those people all the time. You don't have time to like go make new friends.
Yeah.
And it's easier
to be like,
you
want to grab a drink.
We want to grab a drink, and
But we also worked at companies where it was young.
Like
that was
social,
the difference. We were not DC government employees.
No.
We were
Far
DC
from it.
public sector.
Yeah.
And so that was like, I was working at a company where the first team I was on was like 20 people that were 22 to oldest person was like 24.
Yeah.
Like in my first year of work.
Yeah.
It was like college internship.
Yeah.
Like we all got to be together or something.
Yeah.
But that happy hour also, not for me, but for a lot of people, that was also like dating.
Oh, absolutely.
Just happy hour in general, not even with work. I was just saying how we were all together, but
absolutely.
Like going to happy hour is gotta be weird now.
Yeah, because it was like everyone had the excuse to go to happy hour. It was kind of like, oh, we got out of work, we got to get some food.
You were walking home.
You let's grab a drink.
The day's ending for everybody.
You're socializing in your 20s, and you should. You know, like that's the fucking best part of your 20s is the social piece.
Right.
And so you stumble out of work, and so it was a very natural, like, we're just at this bar to be at this bar because it's that time of the day, versus what you're saying is like, I guess if you were in an environment that wasn't super remote, if you're in, a city and 5:00 hits, 5:30, you could still be like, I'm going to go to the corner bar, even though I'm working
people
remote.
could still go, but I just feel like there's less.
It's less easy.
Well,
it's less
and you think about
natural.
too, kind of how it starts. Like a perfect example would be the company that you worked for, especially because it was smaller in size, like headcount than where I worked, but it was that age demographic. And you guys, personality wise, you were on a team of everybody's in sales. So everybody's going, you're a bunch of extroverts.
Right.
And
so if we go out, not only were we enjoying each other, but we knew we would, the other people around us would be enjoyable.
Other ones of our friends that worked at more corporate places that had that too, wouldn't be like, maybe they didn't want to go hang out with coworkers. She didn't want to like go dip. But I think like your company became
the central
and where it was located
and a really fun.
Then we'd all would kind of tag on. But I say that too because it became, you go to happy hour, and then what would happen, especially in our case, which was always so funny. And Miles will remember this, our brother-in-law, of like
number one fan.
It goes from happy hour, and then we always call it happy hour extended, where we're going to happy hour and then we're home at 12.
Oh, exactly.
And we've shared a cheese plate. And a fry between the four of us.
And then at the end of the night, you're like, Z-Burger.
Yeah, then you're like, Z-Burger, I'm dying.
But no, exactly. But so it would just be such a part of like, and again, that natural, you didn't have to make any effort. You didn't have to text your friend to say, do you want to go hang out? Because you just were able to leave with people.
Wasn't with me. But then those social circles overlap. It's much easier for people to be like, oh, my coworker, da-da-da-da.
And when you're out with your coworkers too, because, oftentimes you're not like, sure, obviously people date at the office, but also because, it is a mix. You weren't necessarily wanting to date your coworker.
Yeah.
So it would be a very let's help you look across the,
who you got at your company.
I literally remember it was my friend. And because that's how Andy and I'm not talking about him, but it was our other friend. Andy and I met at work and became like, we were that young, and we weren't trying to date each other. We were trying to like hang out with each other and find other people and have a social whatever.
Right.
And I remember one of our coworkers, who was our friend as well, said to me, dude, all you have to do, make eye contact across the bar and it's done. Like if you make eye contact at any guy, you're
was like, this is a guy.
This is my guy friend telling me like, just make
but that too
helpful. I'm saying it was like
helpful
that. He was being
from guys because you would not have had
that.
It's also different relationships that happened too.
He was my direct coworker. We were not going to cross that line.
Young married guy. It's so funny now because I'm thinking back. I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm like seem so old. Like my age is so old to that new. I remember this one coworker when I was probably like 23. Him too, being like, well, what. He's a good guy. Like, why isn't he, with anybody? Like, don't you girls have like friends for him?
Yeah.
I'm not saying anybody at work. And this was actually, he wasn't being weird. Like, what are you dating? But he was like, there's got to be somebody we could hook him up with.
That was always conversations that were happening at work. And the cool thing about work as well wasn't just the people your age. It was the people older than you. The people that, one of my very close friends, Tommy, you know who you are. He's been a fan of the pod as well. Him and Kitty, love you guys. But he was 10 years older than me. And so he was always giving me like the guidance. Oh, yeah. And still to this day.
There's a lot of, I can vouch for that.
He was married.
Tommy, you are. She does say, he always told me.
Yeah.
And
so it'd be those things. And I was like, it was so helpful to have a guy's perspective.
Which is true because I'm like, I have to share this one because it's really funny you're saying this. I remember when I was recently single after being in a long relationship, and you said to me, Tom always said to me, just be careful about the first one that comes along.
Yep, the first one that comes along after your breakup. After,
because no doubt they'll be smitten, obsessed, and you'll be like, oh, I've still got it.
Well, he was saying that, and so I think just anyone in general, but also if it was someone, he was saying both. It was also someone in your network. It was like, be aware that why are they coming in so quick? Like they're realizing that. Just be aware. Good advice. Be aware. It wasn't even a specific. It was just in general. And he got But yes,
nurturing
things. You don't
friendly advice from older generations because
exactly.
I had that too with even just the relationships you form in person at that age of your career, like I'm not as worried about it as now in terms of like the mentoring, because I'm a confident person. I have a problem picking up the phone and being like, it's not weird to me that we're through the screen, right?
Right.
But some of the, the confidence, being able to be in person, I think with leadership at different times in my career, especially with men, that helped me definitely to be more confident. It was much more easier for me to build rapport and like show my personality in random interactions that I wouldn't always have been in that meeting with those people.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Anyway.
No,
got to get them likes. Got to show that woo.
No, totally. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I know it's like such a bit now at this moment in time, the personality hire, but it's only so funny because it's so fucking real.
Yeah, because I mean, it is, but with the dating thing too, because I'm thinking so many things about the happy hours and just how that dynamic, even the stories, like we knew,
God, I knew all
like I said, the first group of coworkers, I knew all who they were dating, and we shared those stories, and their significant others would be out with us and whatever. That's so different now from, if I took a same type of company now, that's probably hybrid, remote, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think about too, because this is my Joe always would joke and say, I don't know why I didn't see more women at like Home Depot. Like meet guys where they are.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I said to him one day, I'm like, I'm such an idiot. Because
well, it was also like, okay, because also when we were living in DC, I wasn't fucking taking the goddamn train out to Home Depot.
He said, yeah, but he was saying, no, but I know. Like, if you want a confidence boost, go to Home Depot. And I joke with him now because I just obviously now I'm at Home Depot in the suburbs and I'm a married woman. But a lot of times when I go into Home Depot, I'm running after I've been in the garden. I don't have my ring on. And I'll tell you what, he ain't lying.
He ain't lying. Well, it's also, too, the funny thing was that we would totally do, and this is another, the grocery store. I mean, the grocery store in Georgetown was actually called
Social Safeway.
Social Safeway, because that's where the young people would meet, because it was like the nice grocery store.
Maybe. I tried, and then I realized, I'm not at Social Safeway, where I then lived when I was single, was at the Whole Foods.
Whole Foods, yeah.
In Logan Circle, and let me tell you, I would say 85% of the men are not interested in me. It's like the gays. I was loving it.
Well, that one.
It was
but
so
the
funny.
Whole Foods, though, in our neighborhood.
I was there with her when little Diva had just been born, and I was single, and Kiki and I were on a walk, and I'm like, had the stroller, and as soon as we had I was like, Kiki, I pushed the stroller away.
I'm dead.
And then we turned a corner, and it's literally just like all the gays just got out from like Vita, and Kiki and I were like, okay, we don't have anything to worry about. I was like, I'm in a safe place. But
yeah, exactly.
Ain't gonna find my husband here.
No, but so we would, grocery store, and what was the other I was thinking of? There was but sports bars, certainly that might seem obvious.
And just going to a restaurant, like certain ones getting a drink.
I was going to say, sit at the bar by yourself.
That's
so
what
first and foremost, there are nice great
place.
Bars that are like Break Bread Soda was like a sports bar / regular bar, so it wasn't weird to go in there by yourself. It wasn't like going into like Dave and Buster's.
Going to a bar by yourself is so fun.
And sit at the bar. And
dude,
the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to fucking drink with a bartender, but like you're always going to get hit on. You're going to get free drinks, and you're probably going to get a free dinner.
Okay, that is actually a great dating tip.
Yeah.
I don't think enough people, I think it's city specific too. Obviously, if you like live in New York or DC, a major metropolitan, it's more transient. It's not as weird for you to be at the bar by yourself. Yeah. And it's not weird. I don't think it ever is weird, but to be clear, you wouldn't be the only one.
No, yeah, there would always be multiples because it was a lot of
Now,
travel.
when I lived in Baltimore when I was single, and I went to the bar by myself, I was like a science experiment to people.
No way. I actually don't think we ever talked about this.
Oh my gosh. It was so interesting. And I talked to my one girlfriend. I'll just show her about everyone who knows who know. But we were single at the same time and would go. She's also like me, where like she lived all over the world, been to different places. And she was like, yeah, just when I want to go to a bar, like alone, people, you don't see it happen. It's much more, I think, because Baltimore is more of a like, it's a smaller city, but you do get a lot of like Maryland. There's more of that local, like you had
It's
some
a
roots.
lot real local.
There's a lot of people like move from colleges that are there. You know, you have a lot of schools, Hopkins, Towson,
very local,
Loyola, right?
Marylanders.
And then they're moving into apartments or homes because there's also, but it's a lot of crews hanging out.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't
I've
say
heard that
clicky,
from
but a lot of
no.
friend
I've
group.
heard that from everyone. That was like, you know, it's like an extension of college because you just know all the same people. And,
Yeah. And depending on, like while you were there or when you moved there. But I remember, so I went out by myself to a bar one night and I was super excited to go by myself because I also just happened to be, when I was living there, I only had, like, Shara and I were the single ones, but she didn't live there the whole time. We overlapped, and all my other friends were dudes. So I'm like, well, when we're going out, they're like cockbox to me. And I loved them to death, but I'm like,
I want.
I'm trying to find someone,
or just
turn away from us, make the circle go out,
and
let
whether
the men in.
whether find someone was everything. You know, I'm saying this for like this can just be if you want to get laid or you're trying to find a husband or you just want to have opposite sex attention,
right?
You know, it's just
right.
All of you don't have to be going out by yourself for any specific reason,
right?
Can, you know,
just go out, like you're saying. Sometimes just like that alone time, where sometimes I like to just kind of meander around and explore the city on my own because it was like a new city for me,
and it's relaxing.
And it was relaxing, and so I remember going. I went to this cocktail bar. I think it was called like Rye or something in Fells Point. It's a cute, if it's still there, it had good cocktails. And so great place to go solo because it's dimly lit, it's tiny, and it's a cocktail bar.
If you're wondering where to go solo, dim lighting, cocktail bar, sit at the bar.
Yeah.
And a place where you can definitely at least, you don't need to have a fucking huge meal, but at least some apps.
So that's the thing though, it wasn't even a place where you could get a meal. Like I think maybe some finger foods, so it's perfect.
Oh yeah, but that's what I mean, finger foods. Even if it's just like you can buy fucking
so
fancy
I
chips.
sit at the bar and it's great because again, like I said, they make cocktails, so it is a full-on mixologist experience. And so I also have something to watch, you know? I didn't have to fake that I'm watching whatever sporting events on that I don't care about.
Don't fucking go.
That would be weird to go to a game, watch a game on my own. That's not what I'm trying to do.
No. And also,
I was being my authentic self.
Yeah, there's no point in going to a bar by yourself and sitting there and scrolling on your phone. You look like a fucking loser.
And that's the thing. And I purposely, I had my phone on, ringer on, not silent, so I can hear if anyone's calling me. But I'm like, I'm here to meet people.
Yes.
And so that was the thing.
Not saying
me
you can't check
having
your
my phone away was sending the signal to everybody.
Turned
in
over
the purse,
or in the purse. Exactly.
Was sending the signal to everyone that was there.
I'm here by myself.
But she's not waiting for everyone. I ordered a drink. I didn't say I'm waiting for a friend. Bartender's intrigued. We're chatting. And bartender also is making me feel comfortable.
Well, and the bartender also half the time they like to have someone that they can talk to that is not
exactly. So we chatted, whatever, and oh my gosh, this is so funny. I totally forgot about this. I immediately, someone says to me, "Oh, did you want to sit here? Do you want me to scoot down one?" Because there were two women that were sitting like to my right. And they thought, seating situation. It was like they were around the corner. Or they're like, I can switch seats. And I said, oh, no, I'm not with them. And they're like, oh, okay. And then so the guy continues watching. And then he's with another dude. They're friends. And they're like, who are you waiting on? And I was like, just the bartender. And I was like, no, I just ordered a drink.
Response.
I said, I already ordered a drink. And they were like, no, like, who's coming with you? Or are you waiting on a friend? And I said, no, I just wanted to get a drink. It was a night, actually, I did a whole solo date night.
Love that.
I went out to a concert by myself.
I was going to say, it's like the movies or a concert are the best things to do
I went
alone.
to see Anderson East at like Soundstage or something. He was randomly in town, artist I like. I was like, I'm going to go to the show.
It's also
none of my friends were even available. I didn't even care. I was like, I'm just doing this.
Not only, I just have to, so I don't forget to say this, because it's not only for like, to like have your alone time, but it's also just like sometimes you just want to do whatever the fuck you want to do.
No one's gonna say no. No one's gonna say I want to eat here.
But it's from the moment you walk out the door and where you're gonna get your first cocktail to your food, to where you're gonna stand at the venue, to what guy you can or can't talk to. To, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like sometimes when there's people in your ear, or like you have to be worried, like, is it too slutty? Like if you want to fuck them, fuck them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in all seriousness.
Exactly. And that's
my business, not anybody
whether
else's.
it was me going out with, like I said, my main group of friends were guys, or even if I went out with girlfriends, you're intimidated. When a group, it's just like in a pack of animals. A group of animals, a herd is more intimidating than that one solo buffalo, right, on their own. So for anyone to approach, and I would think especially now in the hardcore app world, but so I'm sitting at this bar, guy asked me, who you're waiting for, yada, yada, yada. They were from out of town. It ended up being one of my most fun, memorable nights in Baltimore because I did my own thing entirely.
When you had such a great,
then I was so entertained.
Great.
These guys were from out of town. They were so intrigued. Yeah. They were so intrigued that I was there on my own.
You're stoned. You're chatty.
I absolutely was.
You're
and that's the thing. I had my cocktail and my weed.
And your weed.
So
you're not
good.
And you're not fucked up. You're in complete control. Yeah. So that's the other thing too. You're like, I'm not going out and going to allow some guy to buy me 3 drinks.
And I knew you guys knew. I was telling you guys what I was doing that night.
Oh, yeah, no, but I'm saying also, too, as maybe I'm stating the obvious, but in all seriousness, I know what it's like to be young and people still love to drink. When you go out by yourself, that's not the night where you let the guy buy you 5 drinks and you are not be stoned and you are in control. You're responsible for you. I'm not saying you can't do what you want to do and you can't go where you want to go. I'm saying, but you're choosing it.
You can
mentally.
sit there and you also, the bartender, this is the best part too when you're there. The bartender is always on your team. They know the game that you're playing. But they also know, usually, if you made that rapport, looking out for you. So they also, without making even a say, I'm good.
My favorite is, they can read it.
Seltzer and a lime wedge.
Looks like you
and
have
you're like, I'm just doing a vodka tonic. I'm doing a vodka seltzer. I'm doing a vodka water. Because the other person doesn't know. I used to do that at work happy hours, too. Yeah. People kept being like, have another drink. I'm like, I don't need to be
right. And you're like, I don't even want to be talking about it, so I'm just going to tell them I'm drinking, and it's the fucking soda water.
Yep, it's the soda water. And that night, anyway, it was memorable because it was so funny. And then, yada, 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 these guys ended up, it was a very interesting conversation. We ended up getting this whole dom submissive conversation.
You had a freeway. That's fucking awesome.
No, we didn't. I didn't hook up to either of them. Wasn't attracted to either of them, but I was so
But if you wanted to and you had, I'm not saying it happened.
Oh,
but if I wanted, that's what my point is. Yeah. It's your decision.
If I wanted
it's your
to,
night.
Absolutely. I felt totally
in control.
It was a pivotal moment for me too that I was just
it's a bit of a mental power play.
Yeah, because I was like, I love my alone time. At that point in that's a whole other episode, but I was craving, I had roommates at the time who I loved, still love, but I was craving my own space, that studio. But anyway, the dating part, it's like, do things on your own. You don't need to go with a squad.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I think, and that's what it is. It's like, you don't have to overthink it,
And relationships too.
But relationships and relationships too. It's like, basic, I think, just because we could do a whole, I think that's a write-in of if you have deep relationship questions on your 20s. We all know.
Our target
Don't
group,
move in too soon. Just don't move in with each other to save money. If it's a boyfriend, find a girlfriend for that.
Yeah, all of that.
If you can't afford the rent on your own, don't sign the lease.
Some of our friends,
stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, your kids are going to be ready for some of this stuff soon. Or do be talking to your kids about that. I worked with a lot of people that did the route of I'm going to go move in with my boyfriend right now because obviously you just heard about my apartment. It was my first apartment versus some of my friends' first apartments. It was drastically different because when 2 incomes for a 1 bedroom is totally different than a studio with 1 income.
Exactly.
But the lessons I learned, the lessons that they didn't, the hard lessons that they have now learned, and knowing managing the money, not going to play a house, being able to prioritize your time, not worrying about getting home to somebody because you did want to stay late at the work happy hour because you were having fun.
Exactly, because where we started, and I will insert this now, where we started this episode, just giving the quick update, and we said, Angel's up at my parents' and I'm a single right now. In your 20s, when you don't have those kids, in your 30s and early 40s, whatever, that you don't have those responsibility, anyone to answer to, you are on your own. even if you have a boyfriend and you're like, you know what, we're in love and it's 25 and we're 25, we want to test the waters, living together, we can do it, and we're going to get married. Okay, if that's what you're going to do, then you still don't feel the need to leave the happy hour.
Yeah, you don't
you should never not invite your significant other. If you're not inviting your significant other, then you should probably,
But at the same time, there's also time when, because I'm only playing devil's advocate to that, because I saw it sometimes where I'm like, bond with us.
Yeah.
Without the significant other.
Well, what I mean to say is between 5 to 7 when you're in your 20s, but then if you're like saying to your significant other, like, I want the extended happy hour, I want to stay out till 10, then the significant other needs to be invited. That's totally. But my point is, if the significant other is like, oh, I want to go to kickball or I want to watch a movie, and say, great, see you maybe at 2 a.m., but you're not my dad, so I'm letting you know, and you can either come or I'm doing my own thing. Have fun. Don't fucking look back on your 20s. Whatever, if you do, or you were this person, fine. Life will be fine, but don't take it so seriously. Enjoy yourself. Don't overthink
and when you feel like, when you're taking it so seriously, like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I'm out here on my own. No one's ever taught me how to do this. Ask people in your life. Slide us a DM, or tell the people in your younger life, those of you who maybe have Gen Z cousins, family, children, coworkers, whatever, but like, look for those. And that's not just a Gen Z to millennial to Gen X thing. That's also to the millennial. That's the young parent. They may not go ask people. Yeah. If you have a problem, chances are someone else has experienced it and they can help you make your life better. So don't try to be a hard ass. I remember Kiki actually said this in our, Kiki was my maid of honor this is Stacey, at my wedding, obviously. And in her toast to Joe and I remember she quoted an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Mm-hmm. That can be applied to so much in life. It's a reminder we all need right now. Mm-hmm. But with the dating thing, it's funny. That's always the part of the younger self that you're like, okay, whatever. And hopefully we all have it figured out now, because you're learning those lessons from your younger life and applying them. But the last thing that you're ever thinking about when you're young is your health.
Well, yeah, your health. And, and that's not to say, and look, I get it, right? Because I do want, the 20-somethings to be prioritizing the dancing on the bar and dancing. I mean, Jesus, when I went out and we went hard. What I'm saying, though, that recently when we went out, were you with me? Who was I with? Yes, it was me, you, Shar, and Lindsay.
We did the mom's night out. I took you girls out for a couple of drinks.
Yeah, we went out, and we went out to, a Gen Z situation because we wanted to just dance, listen to DJ. My God. And we were going crazy, dancing hard. And these kids around us were all
and the music was great. The
music was awesome. This was bop. This was move, jump, go crazy. And the Gen Zers around us were not engaged. And
not engaged in dancing.
We
they
were told later that it's because they're
phones.
Well, they were on the floor, but they're more self-conscious, more worried about if someone does record them, or it's not that carefree. I just completely and we'll talk about this, I think, in another episode that's going to be upcoming about social media, but it's that carefree, let loose. I don't know if I would have been on stage at every chance I could, or every bar at every chance I could, or been thinking about,
because even with coworkers. Truthfully,
yeah.
I would have been about so when you worried about working,
it if I knew someone was going to take me live while I'm up on the bar and show my, badge. I'm not even kidding.
I started to see that when this was 2016 when Snapchat came in the scene. I started seeing that in the one work environment where people were doing that. When we were at happy hours and stuff, and we're like, guys, why are you
even here?
And doing stuff that you wouldn't have wanted, on there. We're like,
what are you doing?
Not incriminating, but it's just I don't want the drunk fucking thing on your story.
Yeah, I don't even.
And you're friends with these people that we work with that are managers.
I don't need my boss to know that I was out until 9. That hasn't, I just don't even, it's not, I wouldn't do anything wrong, but it's just like my business,
or that I'm
my
doing
business.
that, or just exactly like, let me have some separation.
Just let me have my separation. Let me have, I don't
that's
need
the thing.
it.
There's no
there.
boundary when you have the social media, because it could be show up at work.
Yeah.
It could show up in wherever in your life.
Yeah.
You know, or just like you're saying, the privacy of it.
But yeah, I mean, so my point is, and again, which is why we're going to do a whole social media episode, because it's like, why I personally feel like I was so lucky. It had nothing to do with anything other than the time that we were born. I just feel like we were so lucky, to be able to be exposed to technology.
Just let your mind be creative on its own.
Not be able to have it attached to us, so that we were always loose and creative and never worried. We were never anxious about, we were anxious about school. We were anxious about studying.
I mean, we'll talk about more in the other episode, because it's too, just like dating now is never going to be the same.
Yeah, it's like that. Why do you need to know my whole, why are you able to stalk me on social media before we even go on our first date? So anyway, so my point when you started to bring up, the health
and
stuff.
Dating tip, do case search them.
But do case search someone, though.
If you live in Maryland, case search every date before you go on a date with them.
We have ended up having those situations in our in our group, in our sister circle, and our friends.
Me, Kiki.
That we ended up going out with people that we were like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Or that lie that you're like, oh,
yeah,
didn't know you were formerly married.
Yeah.
Didn't know you have a child.
Yeah.
Says you're paying child support.
Yeah.
Who's that going to?
Yeah. So, those things happen, and so do case search. But when I made that transition of like, well, I do want you to prioritize the fun things. I do want you to put the phone down. I do want you to get on stage, or whatever the thing is that makes you laugh and have fun and not take yourself seriously, going to the concert by yourself, or whatever it is. But take your health seriously, because one thing that I wish that I had done was in my 20s, I would have not just assumed, just because I eat well and I work out and that I'm healthy. I think I should have prioritized having a real general practitioner that I was seeing
a yearly physical
regularly, and like really deep, true yearly physicals that weren't just like checking like the blood work and all the things. I should have been having that, I should have taken more advantage of the insurance that I was working so hard to even have access to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And it was
one.
like, lean into that. I'm not saying you need to go full, like, go to acupuncture and make sure no, I'm saying just give yourself the full scope of what's going on to the best of your ability without stressing yourself out.
And the minimum is go to the dentist
twice a year.
If you have the insurance, oh my God, go to the dentist.
Go to the dentist.
Go to
your general practitioner. Get your yearly blood work.
If you're a woman, get your well woman visit. Get a pap smear. If you are sexually active, it does. If you are, especially if you are not married, but even if you're married, a good practice is still get tested for STDs, HIV, STIs. That's right. The new, you're supposed to say STIs now. And do ask, if you're a woman, ask your doctor to be tested for herpes, gonorrhea, chlamydia,
HIV,
syphilis, and HIV in addition to your pap smear, because that's testing different things.
Yep.
And if you're a guy, any man that is single
and having
go
sex,
get an STI test.
You get tested
and get your blood work done for
your
HIV.
Blood work, just your yearly and your blood work.
If straight men could act like gay men.
Yeah, consistently
with getting their vaccinations, getting their blood work.
It's not a yearly STI. If you are sexually active, if you have more than one partner and you are, regularly having sex, you go get regularly tested. Don't pull that shit of, not using a condom, and just because you don't know you have something, then you probably don't have anything.
Put it this way.
Don't
go
do that.
Listen to SheMD with Dr. A podcast, the episode where she talks about STIs. Just go listen to that.
Yeah.
And then anybody that's listening to this that is out there still running the range, getting it in, and not using a condom.
And not getting tested.
Oof.
Do better. Your karma sucks. Fuck you.
Oof.
Okay, moving on. So seriously though, I'm just like, do those things that you have them in your insurance for a reason.
Yeah, and that's for everybody. Again, we were like talking about our 20s, but it's like,
yeah, that's for everybody.
Dudes,
but like, I feel like
I don't care if you're married, single. Don't make your wife have to nag you for it.
Right.
Don't be a tool.
Right.
You're married. You are the responsibility. If something happens to my Joe, I've got to take care of him, vice versa.
Yep.
So like, do talk about your health
Yep.
to your spouse. And when
Yep.
you go to the doctor and the doctor gives you a report, be honest.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this because dudes, like, yeah, we all, especially like, I'm 37. We're getting to that age where like, yeah, we don't get to just naturally evolve. And
I think that's my point with
Yeah.
like, yes, it's for everyone for the health stuff. But I say that because I think naturally, because when you do get older, you see it, you feel it, you have certain things that occur that force you to take care of yourself,
Yeah,
to
do it
force you to go on the
proactively.
journey. So I'm talking to those 20-somethings as the proactive and
Yeah.
30-somethings as be proactive.
yeah,
That's what I would absolutely say.
go get
But-
checked.
but yeah,
hopefully
have
for most of you that are out of your 20s, you're like nodding along and saying, yeah, I'm glad I figured that out. But you know what? If there are certain things where you're like, damn, I didn't figure that out in my 20s. Life is a journey. We don't have our shit figured out.
Get a
That's for damn
therapist.
Sure. Also get a therapist.
That's what I
a
would- one thing I would say.
advisor.
Oh, other thing.
Ooh, and a financial advisor.
Get a financial advisor as early as you can in your 20s.
People-
and
yeah, you get a financial advisor.
and a therapist. You don't have to if it's not in your insurance. You don't have to go
Let's
all
do
the
our
time.
top 5. What would you
20s
20s?
financial advisor,
Therapist.
therapist.
Use your health insurance.
You just use. I'm
Yeah.
going to put therapist as separate, but then I'm going to say use your health insurance for all physical stuff.
Yep.
Like we rattled off.
Yep.
And always be networking and do it for the story. Have fucking hard, aggressive fun.
Yeah.
Like live
Yeah,
your fucking
fucking
life.
live. And I would say, too,
better
my-
to say yes than say no.
The bonus
Like, I'm not
one
talking
is,
about
like-
doing like hard drugs. We were no pills, no powders. 20s.
No pills, no powders.
Like just it was.
But I mean, like, no judgment.
Like
I'm
no
just saying
judgment.
that
We're
was
just
my
saying.
thing.
I'm not saying like live and do. I'm thinking of like now that I'm a mom. I'm not saying live and do.
it's also a different game out there in these
means
streets.
do fucking fentanyl.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, or like try. I'm saying live means fucking have fun. Don't worry about what
laugh,
other people
love.
see. I'm dead. Don't worry about what other people are seeing you do. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Don't.
that's what I wish.
Don't think about
My
the fact
wish
that you
for
get
my
on
20s,
stage
yeah.
tonight means that everyone's going to post it tomorrow. And if they do post it, they're just jealous because
Yeah, and
anyone
also,
getting on stage is
all
having
those
fun.
people
It's fun.
posting
It's fun.
aren't
It's fun.
confident either. And if you think it's easy and you're like, oh, I'm still not confident, just keep aging. If you're a woman,
Yeah.
the universe will just give it to you.
Exactly.
Because I'm 37, I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck.
That's why we're doing this pod now. I don't know if I could have done it when I was 25.
I've thought about that exact thing after we were prepping the other day. I thought about that exact thing when we left because I thought about the blog thing and I was like, thank fucking God that did die off because
I mean, we wanted to do this since I probably was 26.
Exactly, but I didn't even know what I wanted to say then. I thought I did, and don't come at me and like Alex Cooper started in her 20s. Alex Cooper. No, wait, let me finish this. I also thought about this though. Alex Cooper went to therapy. Not only saying I'm not
everyone's
saying that you have to. But I'm genuinely thought this about her. I'm not saying that you have to say the perfect things and you can't fuck up publicly or privately in your 20s. But I'm saying as far as like for me personally, when I think about, I did not do the things that Alex Cooper says that she's done as a 20-something. I definitely did not go to therapy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
I went to therapy in college.
Well, I didn't. And I say that I think people, I think
Another
the
episode,
earlier,
I would love to share my journey with people that are hesitant.
I think we both should compare and contrast
Some of
yours
y'all
versus
think you've
mine.
got it together and you need somebody.
Well, yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
We all need somebody.
I think the
So-
earlier you knock that out, the better. But yeah.
Absolutely.
So those are did I even get to 5? So I said
Yeah, we said therapy, financial advisor,
general health.
get your yearly physicals, all that.
Oh, and then just do it for the story.
Do it for the story.
Have fun.
And
Don't be scared to not have any money either.
stop looking so hard in the mirror and stop looking so hard at social media.
And stop looking so hard at being so worried about what other people have financially, because like I think that's what social media kills too. And then you,
because I'm telling you all, I just did my budget for you when I was 24, and let me tell you, it was a slow progression to get here.
An insanely slow progression.
Get a financial
and
advisor.
You don't
say
need
that
to,
one?
You don't need to go to Italy to have a great time. You know, you don't.
That's true.
You just need fucking friends. So enjoy it. Do it up, Diffs.
Put your hair down. Do this.